Good evening. First of all, it's incredibly humbling to receive such wonderful recognition and such amazing company, Dr. Medaglia and the others that are here this evening. I also want to thank my wonderful family and friends that are here with me tonight, my mom, my brother-in-law, and my dear friends that came up to share this incredible honor. I also want to thank the foundation for recognizing me tonight, but really more importantly, for recognizing what a huge problem we have with the criminalization of mental illness. When I became a judge, I had no idea I was actually becoming the gatekeeper to the largest psychiatric facility in the state of Florida. And while it sounds funny, it's sad because it's the Miami-Dade County Jail. My journey into the mental health world began one morning when I was getting ready to go on the bench, and I was approached by the assistant public defender and the assistant state attorney, and they asked me if I would speak to a couple whose son was in jail on a case I was about to hear. This lovely, very sophisticated couple came into my chambers. They were literally shaking. The mom was crying, and they started to beg me to get their son help. They told me their son had gone to Harvard. He had a late onset of schizophrenia, was now a homeless man recycling through the criminal justice system, and they just didn't know what to do anymore. As a judge, you think you have a lot more wisdom and power than you do, and because I was never trained in this arena, I made the mistake of promising them that I would get their son help. As I got up to go into the bench, the mom stopped me and she said, "Judge, I need to tell you a couple more things about my son. He's brilliant, he can be very manipulative, but he probably knows the system better than you do. Because you see, my son is the former head of psychiatry at Jackson Memorial Hospital in Miami-Dade County." I was pretty taken back. I went into the courtroom. I called his case, and he stood. And we started to have this remarkable conversation. And if I wasn't looking at him, I was listening to this Harvard-educated doctor who was absolutely brilliant, insisting he had not committed the crime in which he was charged, and there was nothing, absolutely nothing wrong with him. But looking at him, I was looking at a homeless man who probably hadn't bathed in 3 months, who really needed help. He was in on some ridiculous charge, believe it or not, like possession of a dairy cart, which many of our homeless people get picked up on. He was probably in longer than the maximum sentence you could even receive for such a charge. I didn't want to hold him in custody. And I said to him, "Look, I just don't understand," because he kept insisting he was well. I said, "Why would a Harvard-educated doctor be in jail, recycling through our system, if he didn't have a mental illness?" And apparently whatever I said triggered a crisis. And all of a sudden he started shaking back and forth. He put his hands over his ears, and he started screaming and pointing and wailing. And he started pointing to the back of the courtroom, screaming, "Your Honor, Your Honor, Your Honor, you have to have that couple removed," pointing to his parents. And he had this look on his face that I could only imagine someone must look like right before they think they're going to be killed. And he started screaming, "You must remove them, you must remove them." And I said, "Well, aren't those your parents?" "No, no, no," he screamed. "My real parents died in the Holocaust, and these are imposters from the CIA, and they came to kill me." I did the only thing I had been taught to do, which was to order an evaluation. The first one came back. It said he was incompetent in need of treatment. I ordered 2 more because I needed 3 to get him hospitalized. He was now in jail twice as long as he could possibly be on his charge. And as I went to order him into hospitalization, the lawyers instructed me, because of his charge, I had no authority to involuntarily hospitalize him. By law, I was forced to release him, and I don't know if he's dead or alive today. We don't become judges to be part of that kind of problem. I left the bench relatively upset. I got on the phone and I learned 3 very hard lessons that day. The first was that we had a mental health crisis in my county. As it turns out, Miami has the largest percentage of people with mental illnesses of any urban area in the United States. It's almost 3 times the national average. 9.1% of my general population has a serious mental illness. Number 2, this wasn't a local and state problem, but as it turned out, a national problem. In 1955, there were some 560,000 people with serious mental illnesses in this country in state hospitals, and about 5,000 people with illnesses in jail and prison. Today, there are less than 40,000 hospital beds in this country, and I don't suggest we go back. However, last year, 1.5 million people with serious mental illnesses were arrested. On any given day, we have 550,000 people with serious mental illnesses in jails and prisons, and another 900,000 on some type of community control. And the third lesson I learned was that our community mental health system is antiquated. It is horrifically fragmented in need of great, great reform. And aside from the human cost of this ridiculous system that we call a mental health system, the tax costs are outrageous. In my state, the fastest growing subpopulation in our prisons are people with mental illnesses. It's grown by over 170% over the last 10 years. We went from 8,000 prisoners with a serious mental illness to 18,000 this year. It is growing so fast that our state has been told they need to build 10 new prisons over the next 10 years just for people with serious mental illnesses. And most of them are on low-level offenses and will be out in 2.5 years. The cost to build and operate those 10 prisons over 10 years is $4 billion. There is something wrong with a society that is willing to spend that kind of money to incarcerate people that are ill rather than treat them. The good news is, because of the wonderful people I work with, my colleagues, the American Psychiatric Foundation, the Council of State Government, and the Policy Research Associates, we have learned how to educate our law enforcement. We have learned how to educate our judiciary. We have learned how to educate our lawyers to stop the madness. And we are lowering recidivism. We are reducing our cost. But the real hope, to me, lies with many of you in this room. As you unlock the mystery of the brain, we can only hope and pray that one day you will truly find a cure for these horrible, cruel, and debilitating illnesses. Thank you very much.